Peter later confirmed that his father did not know the English word for this control surface. After giving some careful thought as to how a cotton rag could potentially jam a Liberator's elevator, I wrote an illustrated theory and posted it on the Crazy Siberia Facebook page, and shortly afterwards, Peter shared the document with Garth. In 2019, Garth and I connected and began corresponding through email, Messenger and Skype. During our correspondence, Garth described how his new eyewitness accounts differed with the Court of Inquiry findings. Through these new accounts, plus research from his 2015 Gibraltar visit, Garth had begun to form a hypothesis that pointed to human factors surrounding the accident's circumstances. With my elevator sabotage theory, this provided a new technical perspective of the crash which helped rule out several unlikely technical scenarios proposed by other researchers, which further reinforced Garth's hypothesis. In August of that year, Garth gave a talk to the Rugby and District Royal Air Force Association about the Sikorski crash. It was here that he first presented the sabotage theory and presented my illustrations through visual graphics. Garth summarized his impression of the audience response to his lecture. As I got going, I noticed a few of the old boys slouch in their chairs, fold their arms, and cross their legs in a way that would suggest they were going to be force-fed a load of bull for the next hour. But as I concluded, I noticed they were all sitting forwards, thumbing their chins. I got a long clap and a few shouts of "Bravo" too. The use of graphics had helped immensely in that a picture tells 1,000 words. The audience saw immediately how plausible it was to shove a rag in the elevator and how it shift in flight. Secondly, it was an independent view from an aviation expert. First impressions of this method seemed implausible, but detailed research and testing has since proved that not only was the sabotage method possible, but the only probable cause that locked AL523's elevators after takeoff. In my 36 years as a licensed Canadian aircraft maintenance engineer, I have serviced and repaired both light and heavy aircraft types. My background includes troubleshooting many types of aircraft flight control systems, some of which were similar in layout to the Liberator 2. Years of experience taught me that seized components or objects obstructing the movement of flight controls often multiplied effort at the pilot's control column, making it stiff or difficult to operate. It was through this experience, along with some outside-the-box thinking, that I was able to demonstrate how AL523 was potentially brought down by an act of sabotage. No attempt in the writing of this book was made to calculate the weight and takeoff performance of a consolidated Liberator 2, as there has already been much published analysis of that subject related to AL523. Garth and I chose instead to focus on the fact that AL523 was seen to take off, fly for 16 seconds, during which it climbed, leveled off, descended, and struck the water. Being an aircraft mechanic, I chose to examine the crash from the perspective of aircraft components and systems. While writing this book, it was further appreciated that many listeners lack an understanding of how aircraft operate, but rest assured this is not a lengthy technical dissertation about theory of flight or aircraft system fundamentals. Technical descriptions have been simplified as much as wherever possible to give the listener a rudimentary understanding of how pilot actions and aircraft systems interact, along with a basic explanation as to how those systems work. Where performance data was required to emphasize an idea or abstract concept, a well-founded source was referenced. Liberator enthusiasts will also note that many images, which can be found in the accompanying bonus PDF, are from various models, as it was not always possible to obtain specific illustrations of certain Liberator 2 or LB30 items. It should be noted that both designations refer to the same aircraft type, the first being British, the second American. This book does not focus heavily on the political intrigue surrounding events that led up to the 4th of July 1943 crash. That subject is extensively covered in other published works, but instead focuses on two specific areas. The first covers the sabotage method and technical aspects of the crash which have never been examined in detail or put into logical context. The second presents historical air crash investigator Garth Barnard's new eyewitnesses, which lend further perspective to the accident. In addition, several questionable myths and stories that conflict with events surrounding the crash are examined and debunked. The individuals responsible for these controversial myths were historian David Irving,